Hello, human geographers. Notice that says world geography. This is human geography, so I'm already making sure that you're paying attention. So these are quick videos that can accompany the AP classroom videos, or it can stand alone, or it could work with Heimler videos, or whoever. What I'm trying to do for my folks is to try to take it and make it more relevant to the world that we live in our local community. So if you're from the Boonton, Morris County, New Jersey area, this might be more relevant to you. But even if you're not, this will hopefully bring in some other angles as you study this material. My ideal song as we start this video would be Maps by the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, but if I was playing that, then this video would be taken off, and we don't want that. These are beautiful flowers from my neighbor. You might see some in our classroom. So today we're going to talk about two major types of maps. We have reference maps and we have thematic maps. Most of the maps you see in your life are a reference map. If you looked in the back of our classroom and you saw Miss C's map of the world, that's a reference map, right? If you look at a map for fire drills and where we go for our exits, that's a reference map. If you look at a map of New Jersey, it's most likely a reference map. Maybe you want to figure out where can you park in Boonton. This is a map of where you can park in Boonton. You might reference some of these places. This is an example of a reference map. So these will have both man-made features. You see like there's various stores and building here. And these maps could also show physical features like you see here, the river that runs through town. All right. So the bulk of what we're going to talk about today are thematic maps. And when it comes to that beautiful AP exam that you take in May, when it comes to maps, most of the questions will be based on thematic maps. Not like, old school geography where you're memorizing, the continents on a reference map and things like that. So there's several types of thematic maps that we want to familiarize ourselves with. So thematic maps are different than reference maps because they take quantitative data. So just think of data that deals with a number, and it's data that can be measured, right? So it's telling a story through this data. And there's a message. There's something that the creator of this map wants you to sort of analyze or to get. Now, there's strengths and weaknesses of these maps. It's hard to make any of these maps 100% accurate. When you focus on one thing, it may not focus on another. So when it's including something, there might be something that's not included. So whenever you look at one of these maps, see what is here. What information are they trying to get to us? And then also think, what other information that's not here could help tell more of the story? Okay, so here's the first type of thematic map we're going to look at, and that's a choropleth map. And a choropleth map uses colors or shading to represent the data. So you see here, this is a map of New Jersey, and the darker it's colored in, the more dense, the more population there is there. So you can see in the urban areas, there's much more population. Look where Morris County, look where Boonton is. We're a pretty dense area. Down south, there's yellow. If you look at that, that's not very dense at all. That's the Pine Barrens. Not many people there. A few people living out there in the woods, but it's mostly naturally protected area. Lots of pine trees and the Jersey Devil. But the Jersey Devil is not enough to make it a darker color. All right, the next we see are dot maps. Remember this map? If you're in my class, we saw this on the first day. A dot map about how close are McDonald's to people within the United States. I would love to see a world map version of this. Hey! So here we have dots. Sorry, my husband just got home from work. He was in Long Island today. That's sort of far. There should be a map about that. So anyway, a dot map uses a dot to represent value. So there's a lot of things it doesn't include. It doesn't tell us, like, for example, how many McDonald's are there in the United States, or how close each McDonald's is to the exact number of people, but this will tell us like how close one is. So it still tells some stories, but it doesn't tell all the stories. A graduated symbol map means it uses a symbol. It's often a dot. It's not always. So this is not a dot map. It's a graduated symbol map. What's the difference? Well, one way you can tell is that the dots are different sizes. So the bigger the dot here, or it can be another symbol, that will show you an increased data. You saw a lot of these during COVID. Almost every day in the New York Times, the front page, there was a graduated symbol map so that the areas with the bigger circles you knew had more cases, or unfortunately, in this case, had more reported deaths. All right, so this isn't a happy map. Another one we have is isoline maps. This is different than a topographical map where you'll often see lines that show elevation, but these use, it says lion is. It connects equal areas of value with lines. So this is often used in weather. Like in between these two lines, it might rain this much, or between these two lines, it might be between 70 and 80 degrees. They often also color these maps because if you just see the lines, sometimes it's hard to read. So it's really helpful when they color these isoline maps. And last, we have cartogram maps. People suggest, think cartogram, cartography, study maps. People think cartoon because it's often distorted the way cartoons, caricatures will distort people's features. So here that they distort that to represent different things. You see these a lot during election season, which we're in right now. So I'm going to try to find an electoral college map for the 2024 election. But here you see the red states, the blue states, right? So representing two different political parties. Often it'll be representing votes or electoral college or things like that. You often also see cartogram maps for world population. So you'll see China and India made really huge, whereas other countries drawn really small because they may have a smaller population. All right, so basic introductions to map. We're going to look at all these different types of thematic maps over and over and over this year. So go ahead and get yourself used to them and see if you can find any others. Or if you find one, point it out to us. All right, nice job, folks.